Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video tutorial on our Adobe Spark series. Today I'm going to be showing you some basic tips and tricks in designing a logo. So I'm starting off with just a custom size graphic. I chose a 1-to-1 square, but you can really do anything. I chose to do the square just because it's easier to export and then use on other items such as a business card or a poster. And for today's purposes, I'm going to be redesigning a logo from a restaurant, a local restaurant called Veggie Fun. So they are a Pan-Asian, vegan, and kosher restaurant. So to start, I'm going to add some text in. But before I add some text in, I'm going to look at some of the templates here. So if you click on templates, you can search for logos. And you get lots of really great designs. And then remember too that when you use these templates, you can change as much as or as little as you want in them. And you want to look for something that, so for instance, like this one right here, the eyeball might not make sense for a veggie restaurant, but I can always change that icon there. But in terms of the text, I have Veggie Fun, and then I also have a tagline underneath. So I don't really necessarily want to choose maybe something like this, where the letters need to be really big. I have too much text to include in there. So I'm going to look for something that can hold all of my messages. So I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to start with this one. Now this is nothing really like what I'm thinking about, but I'm going to use it because I like the setup of having an icon, having a tagline, and having a larger text here. Okay, so I'm going to start by changing the text here to Veggie Fun. So I'm going to double click on it and type in Veggie in all caps. Now I could do it all on one line, or I could do it on 2 lines. So I'm going to do it on 1 line. Now you'll notice I did do it on 1 line, but because what was before was on 2 lines, it's still putting in 2 sections. So to fix that, I'm going to click this sidebar and drag this out, so it has more room to fit on 1 line. And then I'm going to center it using my purple guidelines. And I'm just going to click and drag this up. Now I'm going to change my tagline too. So I'm just going to double check what that was again. Pan-Asian, vegan, kosher. I'm going to put an extra space in between these so that we can see that they are separate, and I might even include a small circle icon. And again, it's on different lines, so I'm just going to make this a little bit wider, and then I'm going to center it. Okay. Now I'm going to change my icon. So I'm just going to click on it and press delete on my keyboard, and I'm also going to get rid of this circle. So I'm going to go to plus and then icon, and I need to look for some veggies. So I'm not going to type in veggie, I'm going to type in vegetable. All right, I have lots of options here. I'm just going to click on a couple so that I can sort of get an idea of maybe what I'm looking for, and I can try out a bunch of them. So I'm going to try this carrot. And maybe I'll do this radish. Okay, so I have 3 options. I'm going to resize all of these so they fit a little better. Now it's important when you design a logo to think about hierarchy. So what hierarchy is think of like a pyramid. You have something at the top that is your main attraction, something that will bring your eye directly to that first. And then as you go down, you have something that is sort of like the second attraction, something that your eyes move to next. And then you have your third. So typically you either want to have your icon or your symbol or your logo be the main attraction, or it could be just the text if we're doing a combination logo. So right now I'm doing a combination logo with text and image. You could have a logo that is just a letter mark, so that's the main attraction. That's the thing that your eye goes to first. Or maybe you have a word mark, or maybe you just have a single symbol. So you can do all of those and make sure that you have them separate. But because I'm doing a combination and I have 3 elements, I'm going to choose which one I want to be the main focus. I could either do the text as my main focus, or I could do the icon here. So I'm going to actually do the text as my main attraction or my main focus. I'm going to resize these. I'm not going to use all 3, but I am going to resize them. Oops. So I can get a better idea. Now, for the caret, I am going to rotate this so it's going sideways. So whenever you click on a text or an icon or an image, you'll get this rotate button down here. So I can click this and I can rotate it, and it snaps to being perfectly horizontal, which is a helpful tool. And then I'm going to drag this up here. And I'm just going to change these colors to reflect more of what I'm looking for. And I can always go back and change these colors later. Okay, so I'm just going to drag these in and get an idea of what I like best. I'm going to drag these over here. So I have this cauliflower or other plant, and let's try it with the radish. You can also rotate this one, but typically radishes are displayed right side up. You can totally use you'll notice that I'm having some trouble selecting some of the objects, and that's because I'm using a trackpad on my laptop. Adobe Spark is much more intuitive and easier to use if you have a mouse. It's not required, but I find it easier, and right now I keep struggling to select some things because I'm using my trackpad. So just keep that in mind. I think I like the caret best, so I'm going to delete these other options. All right, and now I'm going to work on changing the font. So I'm going to click this, and I have lots of options here. So I can either choose a font from here, or I can click on it and choose some new styles. So this is a fun thing to do. Oh, that's kind of nice, actually. If you find something that you like, and you're not sure if you want to use it, what I like to do is duplicate it and just put it over here for later in case I decide I want to change it. So I can click through and look for some different stuff. I kind of like this too. I would change the colors and the size, but for right now I'm just going to duplicate it so I can save it for later. Now, usually when you design a logo, you should come up with multiple iterations, and if you're doing a project for my class, I'm going to require you to do at least 5 iterations. So it's nice to keep these here so that you can show some different styles. Okay, definitely not that. Remember to choose a font that matches your aesthetic or your style of whatever you're making this for. So if you're doing like a restaurant, you might not want to do something like this. Doesn't really make sense. This kind of looks like a stencil used for like an army situation. So I wouldn't really use that. I wouldn't really use something like, okay, I'm also going to change these colors so we can see them a little better. I'm going to take off the shape. This is a cool font, but I don't think it really matches what we're going for. This feels like a computer kind of like video arcade game. So again, we want to look for something simple, sometimes simple text can be the best, and you can always spice them up with, an outline or, a shadow behind it. So I'm going to try doing maybe this sort of rounded one, and then I'm going to change the color, and I'm going to try adding a shadow behind it. So my shadow, maybe I'll do just like a contrasting green. No, maybe not that. If you're going to do a shadow, you want to do something that is contrasting so that you can see it a bit better. So in this case, I'm going to change the shadow a little bit so you can see it a little more. And I'm going to increase the size. And I think that looks really nice too. Now I need to choose a font for this. And again, usually for your taglines, I would suggest keeping it really simple, nothing super crazy, something like that. And if we're remembering hierarchy, you can also make things stand out more or whatever with using a bold or a bold italic, so I could do that as well. And you also want to be mindful of your spacing. So you don't want things right on top of each other, but you also don't want things too far away. So I'm going to try out having a couple different iterations with these different texts. So I'm just going to move these over here for right now. And I'm going to play with some different colors. So I'm going to go to colors. And right now this is my color palette. It's very carrot-like, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I might change this to like a brown. Okay, and maybe change this yellow to be just another green in here. Like that. All right, and now I'm going to shuffle these through, so I'm going to click the shuffle button. Ooh, that's terrible. You might get some weird combinations here. And if it's not working out, look through and see if you can find some other stuff. So maybe I could try this one. That's actually not too bad. That one's kind of nice. So let's say I want to save this iteration. Quickly, you can just download it as a PNG or as a JPEG. A JPEG is usually a smaller file size, and a PNG is better for graphics like what we're doing, and it allows you to usually scale up your images a little bit more without having any distortion. So I'm going to do a PNG, and I'm going to start download. If you want a transparent background, so if, say for instance I just had the carrot and I want a transparent background so that I can put it on some other things like a business card, I would choose that, but I'm just going to do solid color. And then if I'm going to make some other options, I might instead change the background color to be white, and then instead maybe I'll add a circle that's that color behind it. So I'm going to press add icon. I'm going to look for a circle. You could do an outline, or you could do just a regular circle here. And I'm going to scale this up so that everything fits inside of here. And then I'm going to change the order right here. And then I'm going to change the color of this so that there's some contrast. So there's another option. So I'm going to make sure that this is centered first. Then I'm going to download. So there we have two iterations. I'm going to go back to finding another style. That's kind of nice. but I need to resize it. If I resize it, that means I also have to move some of this stuff around. So I'm gonna do not a carrot, I'm gonna try another vegetable. Maybe in this time I'll do like a leaf to match the green theme. And I will maybe rotate it. Actually, I'm deciding I don't like that one. Let's do maybe this one. Okay, resize that. And then I'm gonna make it the same color as my tagline down here. So that one is this color. I'm just gonna copy this code here. This is a color code. So I'm gonna Control C to copy, and then I'm just going to paste it right here. There you go. Center this. Make this a little bit smaller so that my text stands out a bit more. And there we go. And then maybe instead of a circle, I will try a different shape. Let's try another circle, but maybe something with a different border. Maybe something like this. You'll notice now that I have a white background that my veggie fun shadow is missing. Well, it's not missing, it's just that it's not as noticeable. A little too big. So I'm going to change the shadow on the back of this to be that, ooh, with that dark color. That's nice. And I'm just going to change the angle of this and make it a little bit tighter, closer to the text. And there we go. So now I have a third logo. You can see how easy this is to change different things, to create lots of iterations. And then if I want, I could also just delete everything and go back to my templates and look for something else that might work with my design. So you have lots of options and you can really make anything with here. If you're struggling to find an icon, or you want to find an icon where you can edit the colors and have a little more freedom, I suggest going to a website called flaticon.com. You can quickly sign up with an account with your Google or Gmail account. Oops. And then you can search for things. So maybe I'll look up vegetables. And you get lots of stuff where you can customize them. So for instance, maybe I want to do this multiple different vegetables in one. You have some different options. You can do a gradient option, and you can also edit this. You can have it so just one is colored in. You can have it black and white. Let's say I want to do this colored one, but I want to change some of the colors a little bit. So I'm going to press Edit Icon. And then I can choose each of these, and I can do some different colors. So maybe I'll do something like that. And maybe for the green, I'll do something a bit darker. And then maybe I want to make this a little more orange. Like that. And then maybe for the outline, you can also select the color up here. Maybe I'll do, I'm not sure how this is going to look, but I'm going to try a brown. Nope, that looks terrible. I'm just going to do a gray. Okay, so now that I've edited it, I can download, and again, I would download as a PNG and choose the highest size, so 512 pixels. And then I can go back to my Adobe Spark and go to Add, Photo, and Upload Photo. And then I can select my icon that I just made on Flat Icon. And there you go. And that's how to make some different logos. So give it a try.